Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this deep dive video, we're going to be taking a look at the Corvus Cabal for Warcry. In this video, we'll be going through a brief introduction to the Corvus Cabal, finding out how they fit in to the world of Warcry. Then we'll look at all the models and all the fighter types, checking out their fighter cards, statistics, and abilities as well. And I'll be using the cards that came in the Corvus Cabal model set, but you can also find all these abilities and fighter cards in the Agents of Chaos Warcry supplement book. So the Corvus Cabal are my favourite warband out of the whole of Warcry. I think they're amazing miniatures, great fun to build and paint. They're a bit fragile in places, so just be very careful with the crow on the head there of the Shadow Piercer. The head she's holding up, that was a little bit fragile, so I just glued the crow directly onto that severed head, and I found that made it a lot stronger. But to paint, these are fantastic. I really enjoyed it using the contrast method, and I've made a bunch of videos on these, on a good few of the miniatures, because I really have fun doing it. But this was my favourite, the Shrike Talon, the best miniature by far for me. This is my all-time favourite, and this is what got me into Warcry back in November last year, and why I started the channel really, so it's all thanks to this guy. You can also see another video on my channel where I show you how I made these wheatfield wasteland bases. Really easy, quick to do, but I think they really suit the whole vibe of the Corvus Cabal. Now we've seen the models, let's find out a little bit about the lore behind the Corvus Cabal. Striking from the shadows of Ulgu without warning or mercy, the Corvus Cabal are a cult of avaricious assassins. They favour descending from above with wicked war picks flashing, slaughtering their prey with cruel precision. When a corpse is found abandoned in the cities of Sigmar, with its eyes plucked out, its throat slit, and its valuables stripped, then the Corvus Cabal are undeniably near. From the mist-shrouded mazes of Carrion Reach, hidden somewhere in the Ulguan dominion of Clarondu, these sinister cultists stalk and slay without remorse any they deem a worthy target. The Corvus Cabal pay homage to chaos in the form of the Great Gatherer, a monstrous corvid whose black feathered wings are wrapped in opulent chains and whose nest of bones drips with the blood of emperors and paupers alike. The Great Gatherer is a demanding god, and to appease its terrible hunger, the Cabal must secure a constant tribute of stolen treasures. Those who fail to provide suitable offerings are hurled from the peaks to be dashed into oblivion on the rocks below, their broken corpses swarmed and devoured by the avian children of the Gatherer. Worship of the Great Gatherer has spread beyond Carrion Reach. In shadowed alleyways, cut purses and thieves worship at secret shrines. There are even those outwardly genial merchants who pay homage to the deity, whether out of jealousy for their rivals' wealth or desperation to defend their own. By offering trinkets dipped in blood to passing corvids, these faithful may attract the gaze of a Shadow Piercer, the mysterious leaders of the assassin flocks. The distinctive razor-thorn shrines of the Corvus Cabal can be found across the Bloodwind spoil, but the greatest are strung between the highest spires of Karngrad. It is from here that the Cabal control a host of roof-runner gangers, honing their aerial strikes so that when they attack, there is nothing the enemy can do but perish. That's a quick introduction to the Corvus Cabal, and I hope that set the scene. So now let's dive in and take a look at the individual fighter cards and abilities. And we'll start with the leader, who is the Shadow Piercer. And this one's coming in at 185 points. Got a movement of 5, toughness 4, can take 20 wounds. We've got 2 rune marks here, the leader rune mark and one other, so we're going to get 2 abilities we can use on top of the Corvus Cabal Warband abilities that they can all use. And for the weapon, it's a range of 1, making 4 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 5 on a crit. So not bad at all for 185 points, that movement's great, 20 wounds is nice, but 4 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 5 is pretty good. But now let's have a look at the abilities. And so there's going to be 2 abilities that all of the Corvus Cabal can use if they've got the Corvus Cabal rune mark. So let's have a look at those first before we look at the ones specific to the Shadow Piercer. And the first is a double called Raven Dart. And for this, we pick a visible enemy fighter within 8 inches of this fighter and roll a dice. On a 3 to 5, allocate 1 damage point to that fighter. On a 6, allocate a number of damage points to that fighter equal to the value of this ability. So this is a nice ability just to pick away at the enemy, just take a few wounds off them here and there, but you're not going to do a lot of damage. If you get lucky though and you've got a high double value and then you do roll a 6 for this Raven Dart, then you've got potential to take a few hits off them. So, you know, not a bad one, but I think it's good just to peck away at the enemy with. Then we've got a quad, and again, any of the members of the Corvus Cabal with the Corvus Cabal rune mark can use this quad, and it's called Death from Above. This fighter makes a bonus move action. Then they can make a bonus attack action. But we can add 1 to the strength characteristic of that attack action if the fighter finished the move action 3 inches or more vertically lower than their starting position. So this is very similar to the quad that you can see on the universal abilities, but here we can improve that strength characteristic because we kind of play into this narrative of the Corvus Cabal by taking them up onto the highest parts of the terrain and then descending on the enemy, and as long as they're 3 inches or more vertically lower than when they started the move, then they can get that extra strength characteristic. So really nice to play into the narrative with that. It almost forces you to do it to make the most of this quad ability as well. So I really like that. So those are the 2 we can use with all our fighters in the Corvus Cabal, but now let's focus on the ones for the Shadow Piercer. So our Shadow Piercer has the Scout rune mark and the Leader rune mark. So let's start with the Scout rune mark, which gives the option of a double, which is called Harrying Raven. And for this we pick an enemy fighter within 20 inches of this fighter. Until the end of the battle round, that fighter cannot make disengage actions. So I must admit, I haven't used this one. I like to just try and make the most of those Raven Darts and the Swift Climb with my doubles, but for this one it's a good option if you really do want to tie in the enemy and prevent them from disengaging, especially if they're in there amongst it with a Shrike Talon. You want to keep them in the fight. That would be a good tactic there. But she's also got this triple called Grizzly Trophy, and this is the Leader ability, and it tells us that until the end of the battle round we add 1 to the attacks characteristics of attack actions that have a range characteristic of 3 or less made by visible friendly fighters while they are within 6 inches of this fighter. So a nice triple there. We can get that attacks characteristics up, and if you can get her close to the Shrike Talon, then that's an awesome way to really get that up there. But you have to be within 6 inches, so keeping them together isn't always easy with the Corvus Cabal. I find I play them, I want to get them on those high points, use that bell tower, other high parts of the terrain, and then descend down. So I spread them out quite a lot. So to make the most of this triple, you really have to keep them together. Next, we've got my favourite, the Shrike Talon, and at 185 points, he's got a huge movement of 8, toughness 4, can take 20 wounds. He's got 1 rune mark for an ability we haven't seen yet, and he's got an attack range of 1 with those talons that he's got strapped to his kind of stilts. He can make 5 attacks, strength 4, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit. So this guy's no joke. 5 attacks is always great, and being able to have a strength 4, dealing 2 to 4 on a crit is really good. And for 185 points, I think it's great value. That movement 8 is devastating. You can, in one move, you can move 16 inches, get right across the battlefield, and if you use a universal ability to improve that movement, you can get an extra inch or 2 on that movement as well. So you can really cover some serious amount of ground. But his ability is great as well. So let's have a look at that now. So the Shrike Talon comes with the Agile rune mark, and so he can make a swooping attack, which is a triple ability. And for this fighter makes a bonus move action. In addition, if the fighter finishes that move action 3 inches or more vertically lower than their starting position, they can make a bonus attack action. So this is really great. This triple I use a lot with this warband, and with this, obviously with this guy, and if you get a double and then you can use your wild dice to make that up to a triple, you can almost use it every turn. So this guy can do some serious damage, getting that movement where he has to be 3 inches or more vertically lower. That really helps, but you get that bonus move action to allow you to do that. So really nice to get a bonus move and a bonus attack, but really you're looking to get this bonus attack from this, and the movement, I almost use it just to guarantee that extra attack action. So really nice, and you can also use the double Raven Dart or the quad Death from Above as well if you want to. Now we've got our 2 Spire Stalkers, and they're going to share the same fighter card. And these guys come in at 140 points each. They've got a rune mark for an ability we haven't seen yet. Nice movement of 5. toughness 4, and can take 15 wounds. They can make 4 attacks from a range of 1 inch, and those attacks are strength 4, and they're going to deal 2 to 4 on a crit. So for 140 points, these guys are pretty tough, and I find they do really well in a battle. Having that 4 attack strength 4 dealing 2 to 4 is awesome, and the 15 wounds really help as well. It's surprising how much they can take. Well, it's not, I guess they take 15 wounds, but they can really stay in the battle for a good amount of time, and definitely worth including these in your warband for sure. But let's check out their ability and see how that adds to that value of 140 points. So with their champion Rumark, they get access to a double ability called Swift Climb, and until the end of this fighter's activation, do not count the vertical distance moved when this fighter is climbing. Now this is really great. For a double, these guys can really get around the battlefield, make the most of those high points, and really good ability all round. I think this is really great, and I use this one quite a lot. I like to use my Spire Stalkers almost as bodyguards for the Shadow Piercer, kind of circling around her, using the terrain, luring other operatives or fighters in. I've been playing Kill Team too much, bringing other fighters in from the enemy and then descending down on them with the 2 Spire Stalkers is a great tactic. So yeah, I really like to use the Shadow Piercer to get the enemy to come in close, but then have my 2 Spire Stalkers up high, ready to pounce down on them. A great way to play it, I think. Anytime you've got 2 fighters like the Spire Stalkers with 1 fighter card, then just use one of these duplicate cards so you can keep track of all their wounds and different tokens throughout the game. Now we're on to our Cabalist with Familiar. Really great model this. I like the pose. I must admit I don't use it an awful lot in the game tactically, but a real great looking model. And for 60 points, it hardly costs you anything. You still get that nice movement 5. Toughness is a lot lower though now, toughness 3, and can only take 8 wounds. We've got a rune mark, and we've already seen that ability, which I'll just cover really quickly in a second. And then for the attack, it's a hand weapon, this little pick kind of axe, and it's a range of 1, making 3 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 3 on a crit. So you're not going to do a huge amount of damage with this, but if you want to use the ability, then it can be pretty useful for this one if you like that way of playing. And so that Scout rune mark is going to give us that Harrion Raven double ability that we already saw with the Shadow Piercer. So you can use that one. You can also use the Raven Dart and Death from Above as well. But I think with this model, I use the Raven Dart a lot and really just use it just to annoy the enemy as you move around and take advantage of that 5 movement. Now we're on to our Cabalist with Spear. You're going to get 2 models that you can have like this. You can also pose your Cabalist with Familiar as one with a Spear as well. But I just chose to go with the Familiar just to mix it up and take advantage of that cool pose. But we've got 2 Cabalists with Spears here. Again, sharing that card and using the duplicate. They're going to come in at 75 points each. Movement 5, toughness 3, can take 8 wounds. Their weapon range is handy with a weapon range of 2, 4 attacks, strength 3, dealing 1 to 4 on a crit. So not bad at all. That range of 2 is really good because you don't have to disengage if you make an attack from that distance. And having 4 attacks, strength 3 isn't bad when you can do 4 on a crit. But they don't come with any abilities. The only ones they can use are the Warband ones, the Raven Dart and Death from Above. Next, we've got some more Cabalists. So these are just regular Cabalists now, and they're going to come with darts that they're throwing and the 2 different like pickaxes and things like that. So you can have a load of options on which models you make like this, but I went for 2 Cabalists and 2 Cabalists with Spear for my Warband. And these guys are a bit lower at 65 points. Nice movement 5 again, toughness 3, 8 wounds. It's 1 inch now for the range of attack, and it's still 4 attacks, strength 3, but it's only dealing 1 to 3 on a crit here. So you're going to get more damage with your spears than your regular Cabalists, but these guys are really awesome to have, and still nice 4 attacks. Abilities, just like the Cabalist with Spear, they're only going to have access to the Raven Dart double or the Death from Above quad. But don't forget, you've also got the universal abilities, and you can use these with all your fighters. There's one on the universal card with the leader rune mark, so only the leader can use that one. But when you start using the double rush with these guys, it really improves that movement from a 5 to 6. They can stay out the way of the enemy, move around really fast, and then with that double onslaught, when it gets time to attack, you can really steam in and do some damage with them. Triple respite, don't use that too much with them. Really, the double rush and onslaught is moving and getting in and doing more attacks on the enemy is the way I like to play them. And that covers all our fighters in the Warband. A great set, and I think a brilliant warband, and I'd love to see some more of these being released by Games Workshop. I really hope they do some more Warcry warbands that are unique to the game, and we can also use these in Age of Sigmar, which is really handy. But as warbands go, these look fantastic and really fun to play. You can still buy them as well, and here I'll put a link in the description to Element Games where you can get a 15% discount. Sometimes it's up to 20%, but right now you can get the Corvus Cabal for £25.50, which is a great deal. It'll be an affiliate link, but it won't cost you anything extra, and you also support the channel as I get a small commission from every sale. And if you use this code Lee7781, you'll also get double element crystals when you check out, and that'll give you extra money off on your next purchase, and I get some too, so happy days all round. Any way you support the channel is awesome and I really appreciate it, but a huge thanks goes out to my Patreon followers. Thanks so much for your support. It's really helping me to keep doing these daily videos, and I really want to grow the channel and improve on Patreon and grow that too. So if you're interested in supporting the channel in a different way, please check out my Patreon page, and I'll put a link for that in the description below as well. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope this gave you a good idea about what the Corvus Cabal are all about. I think they're an awesome warband, and for £25.50 you don't just get the models, you also get the abilities and cards as well. So I think it's a really good value set for such great sculpts. But thanks so much for watching. Check out my other deep dive videos as I'm working my way through every single Warcry Warband, and so there's a good like 25 available to watch already on the channel. So thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games.